Hey, how y'all doing this evening? Kind of wanted to have a little talk this evening with y'all about seeing a lot of some other YouTubers, myself too. We've been doing some question and answering things, a lot of these live deals, usually on Saturday at 12 o'clock. I've been in a couple of them. You're more than welcome to come, and I'll start announcing them more, but that's what we do is we get together and everybody asks questions that they have. They tune in, and it's kind of on YouTube, but Google Plus host it. So you got about 5 or 6 chefs on there, YouTube chefs, and you get the viewers get in. They get to type in, ask questions, and we answer them and stuff like that. But anyway, that's not really what that's about today. Last session, it was about 2 weeks ago, there was a lot of talk about barbecue and stuff like that. Unfortunately, I was traveling at the time, and I was unable to get a good internet connection from my phone, so I kind of got cut off with some of the questions and stuff like that. So what I kind of wanted to do today is talk with y'all a little bit about my views on barbecue and stuff like that. Even though that's not really the central interest of my channel, it has become a big part doing the barbecue and the outdoor grilling and stuff like that. Basically, one of the first things I wanted to talk about here, I kind of had to make a little bit of list of stuff, is people talk a lot about the different types of pits or smokers and what's best and this, that, and other. What you really have to find, in my opinion, is what are you looking for? First off, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to cook for a big group, a party, maybe do some catering, something like that? You're just cooking for you and your wife. Another thing, your taste. Are you trying to achieve that same taste that you might get in a commercial barbecue place? Or maybe that tastes like the little old barbecue shack down the road. What are you trying to cook? Mainly chicken, pork chops, stuff like that. Are you trying to do some big stuff like brisket, the big pork shoulders and stuff like that? All that kind of goes into play to when you're picking out a pit or a grill or a smoker, whatever you want to call it. And what I would say about that is just look around, in your price range too. You've got to think about, well, do I want to spend $400, $200? Do I want to spend $4,000? I mean, you can spend whatever you want to. AmazingRibs.com has a bunch of good reviews on different types of smokers and all sorts of grills and stuff like that. But what I would say, let's rewind kind of to the taste profile maybe of what you're looking for. If you're looking for a lighter smoke taste, like what you get in most of your commercial barbecues, like you go to some of these big chains, these real indoor barbecue restaurants where you don't see a big pit out back, most of them now. And another question is, are you going to do competition, or do you plan to do that in the future? But that's a whole nother ball game. Anyway, most of the big commercial places now, and even a lot of the competition guys, are using the pellet smokers. Electric pellet smoke-fed smokers. And what that is, basically you have a smoker or a box, similar to that little box that I've been cooking on the last couple of cooks. It's got an electric heater in it. You feed in either wood chips or you feed in pellets, which is like sawdust of the different types of wood. It's bound together all through. Now, it depends on what brand you go with, but most of them, the better brands, they say it's all natural, all wood. Just press together a little bit of water, it's dried out. It's really good stuff. Now, when you burn that stuff and you get the smoke from that, I'll say this, it's, in my opinion, and I'm not talking about better, best, anything like that, you get a very clean, sweet barbecue flavor. Okay, you don't get when, like, let's take for instance one of the best smokers out there, the Weber Smoky Mountain. I'm not talking down on it at all, or my Weber that I cook on, the little Weber 22 silver with the stack kit. When you're using that charcoal, not the electricity, but the charcoal to ignite your wood, you get a certain taste, a certain flavor from that charcoal. An experienced pit master, someone who's been doing it for a while, knows all about his vents, about the exhaust is very important. Your top vent and your intake, to where those flavors don't, the fumes and stuff like that from the coals themselves that are being burned, not just the wood, but the coals, don't get trapped inside and there make a tar or a unpleasant taste on the outside of your meat. Okay, but also not just unpleasant, with the right amount of fumes and stuff like that from the charcoal and charcoal smoke, it does give that certain bite to it, that certain real, I want to say just backyard cooked flavor. I mean, it's really unique, okay? So, I don't know if you ever had, been over to a friend's house or something like that, somebody who knows what they're doing, they're on a charcoal pit or something like that, and you get chicken or maybe a barbecue butt or something like that. It's got a really nice bark on the outside. It's got the real heavy smoke ring, which, another thing, the smoke's not really what creates that. It's actually a byproduct, more of what the charcoal creates. But anyway, so there's science. If you go to AmazingRib.com, they've got the science on that, and you can actually put certain kind of salts on there to get that. There's cheap ways to get the smoke ring, but let's stay away from that right now. Anyway, like I said, when you're using that coal, that charcoal, that lump or briquette, that it imparts a certain flavor. Not saying it's a bad flavor, but for some it can be a little harsh, okay? To where when you're using the pellet smokers or maybe the little wood chip smokers or something like that, it's a lighter smoke. On the downside of that lighter smoke, some people want more intense smoke flavor. You just ask yourself, do you like the commercial barbecue taste, or do you like the more intense barbecue? There's not a right or wrong answer here. I'm just telling you there's a difference when you go to think about these things. One thing, advice I might tell you, start out like I did on the lower end of both. Start out with the kettle, with the stack kit or something like that, or get you a Smokinator. So you can get the more intense smoky flavor using the big wood chunks in the charcoal there, and then get you more low end like that little Masterbuilt smokehouse, so you can kind of see what the electric, it's not electric smoke, but I'm saying the smoke that is created by either the wood chips or the pellets by the electric heat source tastes, like the milder, sweeter type smoke taste and flavor. But that's some things to think about. Like I said, space too. We were talking about, are you feeding a really big family? Are you feeding just 2 or 3 people? That can be a big part in all this. One thing you might want to think about is, if it's just you and the wife, of getting, I think the Weber Smoky Mountain makes like a 14-inch even, really small one. Which you got to think about that. You won't use as much fuel. It takes as much fuel to heat that pit. So that's really good. You've got a small amount of food that you're cooking. You're not going to use that much fuel. As far as the Masterbuilts go, they've got the 30-inch. That's what I've got, and you can put a ton of food in there. But I'm not sure of a smaller electric, chip or pellet fed. But like I said, with something like that, you're looking at $250 bucks. Very, very inexpensive in the scheme of things. But it's enough to cook for a small family, or you could put a big group in there. But what I'm saying is, if you went and got a 22-inch Weber Smoky Mountain, that thing can cook like, I think, 4 or 5 butts at a time, maybe. You could put 5 or 6 chickens on there. You may not need that much real estate. And you may say, well, I may need it at some point, but you got to think about it. Is it worth it to be able to have to burn that much fuel all the time? But like I said, a Weber Smoky Mountain is one of the best smokers out there, and it does conserve fuel very well. So I'm just saying, with the larger pits, you need to think about, let's say you're using a large, extra large green egg, something like that, compared to the large or the medium, the Kamado styles. Those conserve fuel and heat very well too, but with the large ones, you are going to use more fuel. There's another thing to think about here. What are you trying to do most of the time? Are you trying to do low and slow? And when I say low and slow, I mean 175 to 250, maybe touching 300. If you're doing that, you've got a bunch of options, but you've got like something that's a little Masterbuilt that I've been cooking on, a little electric. It only goes from 175 or 100 to 250. I think 275 is the highest it goes. So something like that, you're not going to be able to get it hot enough to get a sear on anything. And I think that's, so you got to use a little pit or something like that, a little grill to get you a sear if you ever want to cook a steak or something like that, which you can do like I did today. I cooked a steak on it low and slow until I got it to the temperature I want, took it off, and I seared it over the coals. You can do that. But other end of the spectrum, let's say you're looking at one of these Kamados. The Kamado, they can, if you know what you're doing, they can be wonderful low and slow. Also, they can get very, very hot for searing. The Kamado's got a lot of temperature range in there. You could probably go from maybe 150, 175 degrees. That thing probably get 1,000 degrees. You load it up right. I mean, it's a great, but the Kamados aren't cheap. And I know they make one or two that aren't made out of the real ceramic and stuff like that. I've been told to stay away from those. I don't know much about them, but you know, they can crack, and they're still not really cheap. I think they're still $400 or $500. So, you know, you can go out and get you a good brand Kamado. I know the Kamado Joe, they make an excellent grill. But you know, and again, Weber, the Weber 22, I love that. You know, there's so many things out there. It's hard to hit on all the grills and the smokers and stuff like that. But, you know, you're just kind of going to find what you need. Don't fall into just, you know, some gimmick or, yeah. But now, I tell you one thing people fall into. If something's a really good price, go ahead and get it and try it out. For instance, that little Masterbuilt I got, found that thing at Salvage World. Got it for like 40 bucks, okay? It's like a $240, $300 smoker all day long, and heck, I'll give it a try for 40 bucks. My dad and I messed around with it, changed out some of the parts, got it going good. So heck, you know, seasoned little smoker for 40 bucks, you can't beat that. You know, my little 22-inch Weber, of course, I bought it brand new, but it was 100 bucks, but that's not that bad. You know, I don't have, you know, let's say I had gone the opposite direction on the pellet smoker, and I wanted to start out with something like a Traeger. Now, Traeger's not really high end, but it's not low end either. You're looking at $600 to $800 on something like that. You know, they're supposed to do very, very good. They're an auger-driven pellet smoker, and you know, a lot of friends rave about them. Say they're really great. I've never cooked on one. I would like to try it someday, but I'm not really sure if I'm willing to throw $800 at it right now. So, you know, you just kind of think about it, budget, and figure out what you want. The main thing, like I said though before, think about the flavor and what you're trying to accomplish. Am I trying to cook for one or two people, and do I want a deeper smoke flavor, the one that I can only get from a stick burner or charcoal or something like that, a real intense smoke flavor? Now, yeah, you could probably take one of these electric deals and just load it and load it and load it, but to me it's not going to turn out good like that. You know, I would say on the side note, like this little electric deal I've got, for the first 4 hours of a cook, if it's a long cook, or until the meat hits 140 degrees, which is not going to take any more smoke anyway, I would put chips in about once an hour. But that's just my pit here. You know, you put in a handful of wood chips. Now on my Weber kettle, where I'm using the stacker kit, I only put in about 3 to 4 chunks about the size of your fist right at the beginning. That's it. It smokes with that, you know, 4 hours, 5 hours. You don't have to do anything else. That's another thing, talking about don't have to do anything. It's the set it and forget option. Do you want something that you're going to have to be out there tending to, add more fuel, add more chips, add more this and that and the other, more charcoal, or are you looking for something that you can pretty much set it and forget it? Some things to think about. Well, I know with that Traeger, for instance, you know, they have a big deal, that and Rec Tech, about you can pour your pellets in there, set it on temperature, walk away. Come back when it's done. Apparently with this little Masterbuilt I've got, you can pretty much do that, but to me, I like to monitor the temperature. I'm posting a video maybe tonight, or, you know, I'm not sure even when I'm posting this one, but anyway, I cook a Boston butt, one of those Heritage Farms, the Cheshire pork, and you see with my iGrill too, I'm actually monitoring the temperature that's in my Masterbuilt over there, and just going off its thermostat. And, you know, I'm still out here working it, you know, feeding some wood chips, and it's not totally just set I'm gonna go to bed. But, you know, if you want to spend a good deal of money, there are grills like that, or smokers, but I do stress, do your research, get on my Amazing Ribs, read their reviews and stuff on pits like that. Like I said, I've heard the Rec Tech is really good, that it doesn't fluctuate much. You can pretty much set it and forget it. Or you want to go high end, get you one of the Cook Shacks. Oh man, that's what the restaurants have. You know, these Cook Shacks, I think it's a Fast Eddie Cook Shack. It's about the smallest one. It's like a commercial deal. It's about the size of a mid-size refrigerator. Set that thing on your back porch for about $4,200, and you load that thing up with turkeys and hams and Boston butts and everything. You just set that thing, boom, you can go to the house. But, you know, that's different. You know, it gives the meat a really good flavor. Don't let anybody tell you just because you have an electric smoker or a pellet smoker that you can't get good flavor. That's couldn't be further from the truth. You can get good flavor. It's just a little bit different from what you're getting with the charcoal. All right, with the charcoal or the stick burner, like I said, your flavor tends to be a little bit more pungent. but it can be a milder, and you can work both. You can take your charcoal over here and you can work this way to make it milder, or you can take your pellet and try to make it more pungent. But like I said, if you're into the more pungent smoke flavor, I would go with the charcoal or the stick burner. If you're in with a lighter barbecue, and I don't mean you can't taste the smoke, you can taste the smoke. The smoke's there. You know, go with one of the pellet deals. You know, give that a try. But anyway, just want to kind of throw that out there, y'all, just in case I missed the next sit-down Q&A. And I know there was a lot of questions asked last time that I couldn't tune in for. I heard a lot of them were about these grills and about the pellet grills. Excuse me. People were asking, you know, what kind of binders they use in those pellets and stuff. But I assure you, you know, the better brands, Traeger, you know, Cook Shack, all those people that make their own pellets. There's no, you know, funny kind of binders in there. It's all hardwood. Look, no worse than the charcoal that you buy. You buy your Kingsford lump. What do you think they use to bind that up? You know, I mean, your Kingsford briquettes. And yeah, a lot of people say, "Why would you use lump?" Well, that's good. That's really good. You know, of course, you don't have to worry about a binder in there. But I know a lot of the smokers, especially just starting out, it's a lot easier to use the briquettes, easier to control. That's another thing. Pit temperature control. If you let's say you even bought a new Weber Smoky Mountain, you got it home and you know you can't control the temperature. You've got to just kind of stick with it for a while. Get the grill seasoned. Go through the instructions. Do a couple cooks on cook some chicken, maybe a pork butt or something like that first, and just let it season. Get used to the baffles, I mean the vents and stuff like that. You've got to get used to your pit. That's why you'll hear, you know, a lot of good pit masters or backyard cooks, you know, I won't go cook on somebody else's grill. Not that I don't know, not their pit, because hey, it'll be all different kind of hots and cold zones and stuff that I don't know about. So you've got to get to know your pit. You got to know how to adjust your vents, know how it works in different kind of weather. If it's cold outside, if it's humid, if it's hot. A lot of stuff to learn here. But y'all, please, if you have any questions, listen down here in the comments section. I'll be happy to try to get with you and answer any kind of questions I can about the barbecuing or smoking or anything like that, or just cooking in general. But anyway, I want to make this little video and kind of put some of my 2 cents out there, I guess, about what I've learned as far as the barbecue goes. And maybe I'll do another one talking more about different kind of meats and how to prepare them and get them ready for the smoker and stuff like that. But right now, I just want to talk about, you know, your equipment and stuff like that in general. All right, thanks, y'all.